And then last night, Irving dropping a franchise-high 60 points on the Magic. It took Kyrie 35 minutes to get that done on only 31 field goal attempts. Just incredible stuff there. And obviously, the Twitter streets were on fire as players around the league reacted to Kyrie's 60-piece, starting with his teammate Kevin Durant, who tweeted, "Attention! Attention! 11 taught another class tonight. Please review the film if you haven't." Then LeBron said, "Kai, stop it, man. Actually, don't." He pulled it back there, hit a little reverse LeBron. And then Evan Fournier tweeted that Kyrie is the most skilled player ever. Not even sure it's a debate. Well, you know, Evan Fournier, if you're going to call us out like that, we're going to talk about it like that. So, producer Evan Fournier, thank you for pitching that particular topic, because for today's purposes, it will be a debate. Starting with you, Perk, is Kyrie the most skilled player ever?
You know what? 5 days ago, I apologized to Kyrie, and I said I would never say anything bad about him again long as I'm in the media, and I'm glad I did, because after that performance last night, he would have made me look like a fool. And yes, I'm doubling down on Evan Fournier and saying he is the most skilled player to ever play the game. Woo. And it's no disrespect to Michael Jordan. It's no disrespect to the late, great Kobe Bryant. It's no disrespect to Elijah Warren and a lot of others. But when you look at what Kyrie do it, how he does it, it's not what he do, it's how he do it. At 6'2", he has the complete offensive package, being able to finish around the basket amongst the trees. He has an elite post-up game. We talk about a guy that probably, arguably has the best handles in NBA history. And when his jumper is falling from the three-point line, it is over. It's nothing that you could do for schemes-wise, double team, triple teams, to stop this young man when he has it going. So yes, right now, today, he is the most skilled player to ever touch the basketball.
George, you gotta go.
Now,
you're
is it
look
close?
at his face.
It is close, but I wouldn't just say it's no debate. But it can be debatable. But in my eyes, he's the most skilled.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go first, Ramona, because I have so much to say.
Look at your face. Look at your face.
I have so much to say.
Go ahead.
You played with a man who I think is one of the best perimeter defenders in the sports history, named Tony Allen, correct?
Yep.
Kobe
I sure did.
Bean Bryant made that man foul out in 8 minutes of play, okay? Listen, I am not trying to disrespect Kyrie Irving. We know Kyrie Irving, how much he appreciated Kobe Bryant, and I do think it's close. But I cannot have you come on here and say that Kobe Bean Bryant, I mean, I would even put LeBron ahead of Kyrie, but we'll backtrack and just keep it to Kobe for now. Kobe Bean Bryant was the type of guy that when you played him in a playoff game, Shane Battier, again, one of the greatest perimeter defenders of his era, literally told me when you played him in a playoff series that each and every game felt like a whole season's worth of defense. There is not a person in the sports history, even LeBron, I think, and this is crazy to say, that it was more meticulous than Kobe Bryant at his game and his craft. When there was an early bus, you know the early bus, Perk. Ray Allen, you played with him, was always on the early bus. Kobe, I've been told,
he was
on the early bus. Like, forget about the early bus. He was there like at 1 o'clock sometimes getting ready for his game. So what I'm saying is, while you can split hairs, okay, to me, Kobe Bean Bryant is still at the top of that list.
I'm with you, George, in the sense that, I mean, I just remember when Kobe messed up his shoulder and he just started shooting left-handed?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, is he shooting? This wasn't just like a layup left-handed. This is like real shooting left-handed. And I remember asking him afterwards, like, hey, I didn't know you could shoot left-handed. He goes, oh, yeah, I practiced that.
Right.
I practice that. Like, he practices everything, all those trick shots. I think you put Steph Curry in that discussion as well, too. I mean, you ever watch Steph warm up? The dribbling exercises he does? I'm with you. It is close. Kyrie is incredibly skilled as a ball handler and as a finisher. One of my favorite stories about Kyrie early on in his career, Pablo Torre wrote it when he was a rookie, talking about the backboard that he grew up shooting on and how it was crooked. And so he just learned how to do all kinds of weird English on the ball when he was trying to finish. And that's part of the reason he's so good at it. But he's incredibly skilled, but I'm with George. I think it's Kobe.
Come on, Perk. Come on, Perk.
All right, here he goes. He's going.
Come on.
Do we realize, right, George, you brought up about the early bus and how much work those guys put in, and I'm not knocking it. But do you realize Kyrie Irving he haven't even been practicing. Like, this guy comes out of his mother's womb with Similac on his breath and walks right onto the floor and drops 50 and 60 on people. Like, when we talk about him being 6'2" and doing the things that he does, and he's doing it at a high efficient rate. Like, no knock on the great Kobe Bryant. I think he's top 5 most skilled of all time. But we do have to remember that Kobe Bryant ranks at the top of them for his most missed field goals. And that's not a knock on Kobe, but when we look at Kyrie and him being efficient at 6'2" and get the job done amongst those trees, every single night he's being guarded by a guy that has at least 3 to 4 inches above him, if not more. Like, the point guards are not guarding him. They're putting elite wing defenders on him, sometimes 2 of them, and he's still doing it at 6'2". That is a problem.
No one's debating it's a problem. I'm just saying I don't think – I mean, listen, you're just not – well, we're going to agree to disagree. Reasonable people can agree to disagree. But it's 2-on-1 right here, Perk, and this is a democracy. And we're going to say that Kobe B. Bryant is still the man.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.